I am hyped for the second season of the Fallout show. What I'm most looking forward to is seeing my favorite characters like Lucy, the Ghoul, and Maximus. This video, recorded on the 16th of December 2025, is going to be a little bit of an experiment, in which I will predict exactly what's going to happen in Fallout Show Season 2, to make a point about how predictable it may be, and how destructive of Fallout New Vegas it's going to be. If you're watching this video when it becomes public, then my witnesses were my YouTube channel members. And you can tell me if this video aged like milk or wine. I am doing this because Fallout Season 2, much like Season 1, is inherently destructive of Fallout as a whole, on principle, and I also want to make the point that the writers are not very talented in general. And before we get started, I want to make it clear that I do not give a rat's ass if you like it personally, if you have fun with it. What I care about is people pretending it's something it isn't. I did just mention that the writers aren't very talented and that Season 2 will be very destructive of Fallout New Vegas, so we'll start off with... The writers are going to follow the rule of convenience, so that being that Fallout Season 2 will bastardize the Mojave, where Fallout New Vegas takes place, by moving things around for the sake of convenience for whatever set piece they want to create. We already see an example of this in the trailers. We see Dinky the dinosaur in Novac moved, and now, instead of acting as an advertisement for the motel and the town, it acts as a sniper's nest that looks inside of the settlement rather than towards the road. The reason why they did this is blatantly fucking obvious. They wanted to create a set piece where Lucy sniped just like Boone did, but could not come up with an adequate situation to justify such a thing while creating fan service. They already don't care about the lore, so they could have simply created a scenario like this in Red Rock Canyon, but instead moved it to Novac, and their solution was to flip the dinosaur around, so Lucy has not only a perfect vantage point to shoot at the Great Khans, but also have a justification as to how she got up there without being seen. This effectively achieves some cheap fan service that disregards the lore but is cool for the cameras. And of course, the tourists who just care about what looks cool rather than what makes sense.
I clapped when I saw it!
On the topic of recognizability, we then get to... Yeah, I'm giving myself easy brownie points early on in the video, aren't I? The writers, who self-admittedly do not really care about New Vegas and are more preoccupied with creating a Mad Max setting than they are creating a Fallout show, are going to focus on a recognition above all. And I really want to emphasize that above all, it is going to be their primary focus. You are going to see things that, within the context of Fallout New Vegas, you should not be seeing. Not because there is a reason for said thing to be as it is, but because they want to appeal to recognition. Consider this still frame from the trailer for a perfect example of this. We can see that not only has Gamora's location been switched, but Mick and Ralph's, a location that used to be on the edge of Vegas, is now right next to the Strip Gate, which in and of itself looks a hell of a lot different to how it does in the game. Part of the reason why Mick and Ralph's is able to get away with what it does is because it is so far away from the Strip. You are going to see this be done with a whole host of other locations, such as Good Springs, Prim, the inside of the Strip, and let's be honest, Hoover Dam as well. We already know that the writers don't really care what they're doing and just want to write a millennial comedy. As such, we can expect a lot of comedy, even unnecessary comedy, that will be used for cheap laughs and effectively function as an insult to actual fans. Serious characters, or at least characters you could take seriously, will not be taken seriously in Fallout Show Season 2. For example, we can expect a random line about Easy Pete blowing himself up. There will be a reference to Oliver Swanwick, a character that not only dies a lot of the time at the hand of the player, but is also supposed to die by getting ambushed as he escapes the town of Nipton. But it doesn't have to stop at characters like that. We can expect that major characters, perhaps Mr. House as well, will act far dumber than he actually is in the game. The Legion will be turned into a bunch of insecure incels and go from a legitimate threat that everyone takes seriously into nothing but a joke, albeit a relatively well-armored one, that every character is going to take as an actual threat, despite them in reality being little more than a joke. But since we are on the topic of important characters, we move on to... We already know that these writers are using the show as an excuse to share their politics. We've seen this with the bastardization of what Fallout is about in Season 1 by turning it from the fallout from the consequences of humanity's actions into a critique of capitalism. You can critique capitalism yourself right now by joining as a channel member, subscribing, clicking the like button, hitting that notification bell, donating in the comments below, and probably going for Raid Shadow Legends or some stupid shit. Therefore, especially when accounting for current events, we can expect that Robert House will be turned into a thinly veiled allegory for Elon Musk, and the Legion will be a thinly veiled reference to Trump or the MAGA movement. In fact, this is going to be so on the nose that I wouldn't be surprised if we got a moment where the Legionnaires say Hail Caesar instead of Awe True to Kaiser. Get it? Hail Caesar, Hail Trump, Hail. But this won't be restricted to just Mr. House and the Legion. We can expect Freeside to be a communist utopia, or at least the closest thing to that. And we will have some plotline about how they are finally free from the shackles of the oppressive capitalist regime of Mr. House. The followers of the apocalypse, if the writers even know they exist, I don't think they do given Season 1, but if they are there, are going to be either a part of a new governing body of Freeside, or are effectively going to function as political agitators, wearing doctor's robes, of course. Their appearance will effectively be nonsensical. Speaking of nonsensical...
For you, hate.
The Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel is a faction within Fallout New Vegas. You might be saying you already know that, but I'm saying it to inform Fallout fans who also defend the Fallout show. In Fallout New Vegas, they are insanely weak and downright on the brink of destruction. Their manpower is virtually non-existent. The bunker that they refuse to leave except for small scouting parties is failing, meaning that every day they spend in that bunker is a day they get poisoned due to the broken ventilation system, and every single faction wants them dead. The only way they survive is via an NCR victory in which you ally them with the NCR, or a yes man victory in which they are ignored. Neither of those two endings are going to be canon, and I'll talk about that in a second, but even if those endings are canon, the Brotherhood of Steel, particularly the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel, will play a far larger role than they should. They will mysteriously be far stronger than they otherwise are capable of being, and will probably be a deciding factor in a conflict during Season 2. We already know that Bethesda loves the Brotherhood of Steel, and the show writers also love the Brotherhood of Steel. They are by far the most recognizable and above all the most marketable. But on the topic of the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel, they are going to all be equipped with T-60s. In case you aren't aware, the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel isn't exactly very well equipped, and the T-60 was only introduced in Fallout 4. Yet it has just become normalized that T-60 is not only everywhere, but in the Fallout show, when most people should have T-45s and T-51s, everyone has T-60s. And the Mojave chapter will be no fucking exception. I mean, do I need to say anything here? Fuck it, fine. There's gonna be a mandatory Fallout 1 or Fallout 2 reference that's not gonna make much sense, and it's gonna be disregarded in a whole 5 minutes. Open your wallets and put a coin in the Enclave. Emily was right jar, because a lot of settlements are going to be destroyed for no real reason other than because Mad Max. Locations that were doing perfectly fine in Fallout New Vegas are now going to be destroyed for reasons that are only going to be abstract at best. I wouldn't be surprised if Good Springs was destroyed, the Strip is going to be destroyed, we already know that Novak is going to be destroyed, and Hoover Dam is probably going to be in an even worse state than it was in Fallout New Vegas. Most areas are just going to be dysfunctional for no real reason, other than to, of course, create the Mad Max setting that the writers have already said they wanted to create. Because fuck your endings, that's why. I'm calling it right now, Vault 21 is going to be that underground place we saw in the trailers, and it's going to be revealed in an addition to the lore that's why Mr. House filled Vault 21 with concrete in Fallout New Vegas. It wasn't because it could have, oh, I don't know, functioned as a tunnel to where his life preservation chamber is, or because he wanted the Vault Dwellers to fuck off while he rebuilt the Strip. No, it's going to be because it was actually a super secret Vault Tech plan, and he had to protect the truth underground. The journey in New Vegas is not going to end with Season 2. In fact, it's probably going to continue into Season 3. These writers are not fucking creative and rely primarily on the member berries instead of actual substance and additions to the world. Moreover, Fallout New Vegas has enough content for at least 2 seasons of a TV show. So what will probably happen is that there will be 2 conflicts going on at the same time. One of them will be solved in Season 2, and then we'll get an extension and a completion of the next conflict in Season 3. That way, the writers can stretch out the runtime of the show while having to do virtually no work whatsoever in coming up with new plot points. Because the plot points they will come up with are effectively reskins of what it was in Fallout New Vegas. Now, you might be wondering, how the hell can they be reskins of what happened in Fallout New Vegas if it's been over a decade in lore since Fallout New Vegas happened? I will tell you how in my final prediction. The official canon ending of Fallout New Vegas is... none of them. If that statement surprises you, then oh my fucking god, do I have something to share with you. Those accounts that you've been seeing shilling the Fallout show and trying to hype up the revelation of the true ending of Fallout New Vegas have all been fucking lying to you. Because before people had even had time to finish watching the Fallout show, Todd Howard and the writers had already confirmed that they were not going to confirm a single ending of Fallout New Vegas. They are going to decanonize New Vegas in order to not confirm any of the endings. And we can already see this being the case by the trailers in which every single faction is around. Mr. House is still alive, the NCR is still there, the Legion is still there, and the excuse for that is, I'm not fucking kidding, everyone thinks they've won. Except if you've played Fallout New Vegas, you would know that none of the endings allow every single faction to remain there for more than 10 fucking years. If any faction other than Mr. House wins, then Mr. House has to die. Caesar dies unless you go specifically out of your way to save him from the brain tumor that he has, something you only figure out if you're doing a Legion playthrough, and this being why he doesn't show up at the end in case any of the fucking tourists didn't figure that one out. And if Caesar dies, so does the Legion, as is revealed in their ending if they win, but Caesar dies anyway, where the new Caesar, Linnaeus, just starts throwing men haphazardly into fruitless conquests, and Linnaeus himself being a man who does not give a fuck about governance. And governance being the exact fucking reason the Legion even exists in the first place. The NCR got nuked in Season 1, and it was explicitly said that the New California Republic was an experiment that didn't work out. Their capital was nuked before the events of New Vegas and then retconned to after New Vegas, after said capital was moved and retconned to another location, the Angel's Boneyard, and I'm not even gonna fucking explain it here again, Jesus Christ. And a yes man ending not only would have necessitated House dying, but it would have required them finding the courier. And given how they seem to be allergic to doing anything that has greater impact than a seal sneezing, let's be honest, they're not going to do that. Fallout Season 2 is going to be a disaster for its fan base. Both the fan base of the show and the fan base of the franchise itself. It may be entertaining in the short term. I understand that some people legitimately find Fallout show to be funny or at least a good time waster. But the fact that the Fallout show has been closing the door on fans and opening it to tourists has been disastrous for the fan base in general. And the only real way to solve it, or at least salvage the scraps, is by talking about it as much as people dislike it. So-called Fallout fans will spend eons making Reddit threads and comment chains complaining about the lengths of videos and assuming the contents of said videos, but never actually engaging, and they are basically a lost cause. Who isn't a lost cause are the people that are now noticing the existence of Fallout. So that's why I am calling on you to, regardless of your subjective enjoyment of the Fallout show, make videos talking about it in an objective way. It doesn't have to be detailed, it doesn't have to be cinematic quality, just talk about it. Make videos, make threads, make posts, and have discussions. Because that is the only way for us to really show what is taking place. But that's gonna be it from me. What do you think of my predictions? Were they right? Were they wrong? Were they good? Were they bad? Leave a comment below along with a brain emoji. Thank you guys for watching, thank you guys for rating, and with a very special thanks to Cameron Mitchell, FML, J Kherty, Darkest IQ, and Lousy Cherry for being the highest tier channel members. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in 2026. Have a good one. Oh, and by the way, here's a bonus prediction. Hank, Lucy's dad, is actually the good guy, and he's just been misunderstood this entire time. Thanks for watching once again, and remember that one.